I know you began the year 2023 with so much hopes and aspirations to end the year on a financial high. Some of you even set targets to hit about $1 million at the year end. Well, it's October, and I know that even if we slash about 4 zeros, some of you still do not have that amount of dollars in your account. Well, not to worry. I'm not here to let you regret the things that haven't happened. I'm here to make you look into the future. In this video, I'll be teaching you 5 high-income skills that will make you very rich in the year 2024. So join me. Hi there. Welcome to my channel. I'm Olushola, and I give practicable wisdom. If it's your first time listening to me, I must say you've been missing out on a whole lot. Anyways, it's never too late. So here's a chance for you to click the subscribe button. I'm waiting. All right. Thank you so much. A lot of us entered into the new year with so much goals, ambitions, and several things that we hope to achieve in the new year. And as amazing as that is, it's just sad to see that quite a number of us are yet to hit those highs that we thought we were going to hit. Many of us stepped into the year thinking 2023 ought to be that money year. And the years just keep on going by without those goals being reached. And I understand. Well, my goal with this video is very simple. It is that you do not end the year 2024 with the very same regret with which you're ending the year 2023 on the financial scale. I am here to help you make the right decisions next year financially. And what better way to make financial decisions than to be prepared for the journey ahead? So in this video, I'm going to be telling you 5 high-income skills that you can learn in the year 2024 to better position you financially. So let's begin. Drum rolls. Number 1, mini-importation. I don't know if it's just me, but growing up, anytime I heard the word importation, I always thought about something that I could never do. Importation. All I was thinking about, were shipping sites, ship on seas, maybe DHL, high cargo planes, and literally things that I could not do. Well, I'm here to demystify that. There's a reason it's called mini importation. That already gives you a sense that it is possible for you to do it in the smallest scale possible and still make the most of it. In layman terms, mini importation is a form of a small scale business that affords you the opportunity of relating or liaising directly with manufacturers, getting goods imported from them at a very affordable rate. Newsflash, the seeds of mini importation are all around you. From the clothes that we wear to what we drink, trust me, many of the goods you take, or do I say 90-something% of the goods you take, were not produced in the vicinity where you bought them from. So mini importation had to come into play one way or another. Yes, so it's one of the cheapest businesses to actually start. And I need to also, to a given extent, demystify what you think a business is. Because when many of you hear businesses, you're like, oh, I'm not enterprising, I'm not entrepreneurial. Well, business simply means meeting the needs of other people, giving value in exchange for money. So you can, it's possible for you to not be the most enterprising of persons, but still be able to do some form of business. So don't shy away from it. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to be giving you some very simple steps on how to maneuver or participate in mini importation and also do so profitably. So one of the major things that makes mini importation one of my major go-tos, right, for people whenever I want to advise them on ventures to start, is because of the ease to start, how easy it is for you to get the ball rolling. Usually for mini importation, what you need primarily is, I say, a laptop that's got data and some sense of business capital. That's the truth. And the business capital I'm talking about here is not some fortune. With about $50, you are on your way to starting the mini importation business. And I'm not joking. You see, several years ago, I came in contact with a man. I think he was in his mid-30s at the time, and then he started his journey. He was talking about how he failed woefully at the university and started working with a business right after by, some form of favor or grace, because quote and unquote, according to his certificate, he maybe did not even deserve it. Anyways, this guy started working. I think he was working as, a marketing executive at some point, or marketing officer at the time. And then he stumbled upon what we call mini importation. And that was the beginning of a change of story for him. So here's what happened. This is exactly how we discovered it. At the office, the company needed to give some souvenirs, so they wanted to make flash drives. They needed large quantities of these flash drives to be made available, and then they started searching, looked at Nigerian vendors, on how to make these flash drives available in no time. And then they hit a roadblock. And soon after that, he found a way to get these flash drives from overseas, I think China at the time. And in no time, ordered them. They found a way to customize, and then they sent to Nigeria. And voila, the need was met. And then he thought to himself, this right here could be an amazing business venture for me. And from that moment henceforth, he started shipping in all manner of things, from shoes to shirts to clothing items to electronic items, whatever you may be. And then he created a marketplace for himself through social media. And from there, he was able to make enough sales. And these were his words. Hold on, guys. I met him in the year 2018, and he had this to say. He said at some point, he was making his entire month's salary in a day at the office, just by harnessing this skill and tapping into a potential market that was already occupied but still had a space for him. And that's such a beautiful story. However, I do not want you to get carried away by that singular fact of prosperity by a man, because for every success story you have, there are countless other failure stories, and that's the truth. So one of the first things that I say I had to learn from him would be understanding the market. So one mistake that many people make when they venture into business, ideas, is that they find a product and then try to find a market that fits the product. But that's wrong. You're putting the cart before the horse. The real process should be finding a market, that is looking at a group of people, seeing what they need, and then finding a product that solves that need. These are two different things. You don't have a product and look for a market for it. No, you have a market and you find a product that satisfies that market. So what I want to say is this: there are people around you. There are things they need. There are specific things that you're sure that people will gladly pay for at any given point in time. Well, there is a problem and you can meet that need. But here's the thing. Mini-importation has simplified the process of you meeting that need, because all you have to do is look at potential suppliers that sell these very things that people will gladly buy and bring those products to meet them and let money exchange hands. That's exactly what mini-importation helps you do. So I quickly want to give you a very simple way to start up mini-importation, right? So the very first thing you need to do is decide on the product that you want to sell. That's number one. Decide on the product you want to sell. So for example, if you are in a university where you know that you're surrounded by ladies who spend a lot of money on beauty care products and all, one of the very beautiful things you can do could be, how about you start importing hair? Different kinds of hair. And I know it sounds kind of difficult. I'm importing. You mean my clothes will be on the ship? What if something happens? Well, not to bother. The risk is pretty much shared between you and the supplier. So you need to pipe low for a bit. Just look or try and recognize a problem. Think of a product. It could be makeup kit. It could even be hairliner. It could even be jewelry. It could be rings. It could be chains. And it will shock you to know that some of the things you buy at stupendous amounts of money were actually cheap from the suppliers. I mean, I'm talking about 5x, sometimes even 10x. So you need to understand and identify these loopholes. This right there is your pathway to prosperity. So identify the product you want to sell. Identify it. I would always advise that you look at your immediate environment, because usually your very first customers will be the 3 F's. Okay, friends, families, and some say fools, right? But then I always say friends and families are usually the first. So 2 F's, friends and families. What has mommy been complaining about that they are unable to get? Look, don't give me excuses, okay? Or don't give yourself excuses. Look around you. Look around you. There always has to be something. There always has to be something that is unavailable that you can bring. That's very important. So right now you've agreed on your product. Beautiful. Now we need to find suppliers that will give us that product in good quality, great quantity, but at a very affordable rate. So what you have to do is find a platform where you can meet these suppliers. And guess what, guys? It is super easy. It's been made easy by the internet. One very good thing about globalization is that it has made world trade super easy. So from the comfort of my home, I can make transactions worth thousands upon thousands of dollars without having to go through any tedious process. Yes. So there are now apps and systems and platforms that have made it easier for you to transact and communicate with these suppliers at pretty much no cost. So there are websites, different ones like eBay, like Alibaba, AliExpress, 1688 website. All of these websites are real and legit. In fact, right up on the screen will just be simple icons for you to also download the app. And when you click on these apps, it's super easy for you to go about this process. You can click on any of the items and you'll find a place to also communicate with the suppliers. So depending on what you want. In fact, many times these suppliers can also give you sample products. The sample products help you to test the feel, and then when you check it out, you could even order. I usually advise that you order different samples, right? So then you now see the one that really fits before you mass produce, because it will be very silly for you to already order so much without having to test out the items to see which one best suits your market, particularly in terms of quality, because usually your visuals are limited in terms of the textures, particularly if you're doing clothing. Okay, exactly. Then another thing also could be because these things vary in prices and in sizes. It's also good to order varieties. Then from the varieties you order, you can then ask for a particular one to be replicated for you. So find a platform, find your perfect supplier. I also advise that you should not put all your eggs in one basket by focusing on just one supplier. Try and go for, 2-3 guys that are sure, and build a good relationship with them. All right, so after placing an order, you can wait for your delivery. Now, usually for websites like AliExpress, Alibaba, the average delivery period is usually about, I think, 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. In no time, then you're going to get your product. Yes, so I think that already works. So bearing that in mind, you would know exactly what to expect. And then finally, here's the most important part. It is one thing for you to have a product that is good. It's another thing for you to fully understand your routes to market. I have seen several people who are so knowledgeable on mini importation, but do not know exactly how to go about the entire marketing process. Well, I'm going to do a different video on that maybe much later, but here are just the basics. Understand that you need to leverage two major things: traditional media and digital media. So there are so many people who have this knowledge of mini importation but are unable to effectively sell these products. So here's what I'll just tell you to do. Leverage on your strengths. Leverage on your strengths, or leverage your strengths. What exactly do you have going for you? So do I say, first and foremost, offline? Your community of people, your community of friends, your classmates, your guys at church, people who need these things. In the first place, you had them in mind before ordering these products. So it should make it easy. Already start announcing from the rooftop to anyone who cares to listen. I have products coming. I have hair coming. I'm now selling jewelry. And then the thing you have to try and do is give a competitive price, right? So if people around you or people in places that they can get to sell these rings, for example, maybe at 1,200. I'm sure that when it comes, if it comes at a cost price of maybe 300 naira, if it's possible for you to try and sell it at about 900 naira, that already to a very given extent gives you the advantage, in terms of price point. Okay, so try and do that with your community first and foremost. And second thing I want to say is this particular angle of selling knows no bounds. It is through social media. You see, the guy I mentioned earlier, what he majorly does is that he created a couple of Facebook pages through which he sells. I don't know how many of you have ever gone online, on Facebook, either in your locality, either you're in Africa or any other place listening to me, and then you just went and saw items that you've been looking for, searching for, and then they're like, it's available at so and so price, So the strange thing is that not only are they selling through just that singular page, they are probably selling through other pages. So through Instagram ads, Facebook ads, you can be able to effectively push this product from the comfort of your homes. So what you have to do is that you need to give the product a very beautiful outlook. But here's one of the things that these websites also afford you, or the suppliers also afford you, is that with the products usually come the marketing materials. So many times if they give you a shirt, they usually give you comms materials, maybe pictures through which you can sell it with, the shirts on people, on other people, or the rings on other hands. So there's photography already. Leverage on these things. When you collect it, create these pages. Opening an Instagram account literally takes you just 5 minutes. Open it, open an ad account, try and create some traffic through your personal page first and foremost, for you to build credibility and legitimacy, so people will not think you're trying to take their money away. Okay, so the first thing I would always advise you is follow the page already. Then after doing that, have a couple of friends do same, and before you know it, start posting these items. And just before we say kaboom, you started getting sales one after the other, and before you know it, mini importation begins to rake in so much money for you. And the last thing I would say is this: it's also a system that can thrive regardless of your location many times. Okay, so just have a place that these items are stored, and then find a way to ensure that they are effectively dispatched to final destination, that is, to the hands of your customers. Skill number 2 that will make you rich in the year 2024 is data analysis. Now, don't run. I know many times when you hear data, you already automatically think, tech, high tech, things for specific people, who have intellectual capacities that I do not have. Hold on. Data analysis, as technical as it is not something that you cannot do if you put your mind to it. So data analysis is mostly about collecting, interpreting, and sharing data that can solve business problems. In the year 2020, the World Economic Forum made a projection that by 2025, data analysis will be the top skill needed in the world of business. And well, we are there already, because in the year 2023, another research came out to say that data analysis is pretty much at the top or at the apex of the skills needed to thrive in the world today. So data analysis is something that cannot be ignored when we talk about high income skills in our day-to-day. And this is because the world is already pivoting towards a data-driven economy, whether you like it or not. Businesses want to make projections, fund managers want to know exactly what business ideas will thrive and which others will not thrive. When it comes to decision making, either at the board level or even in the most tactical sense, you need data. Data lets you know not just what was, but what will also be. And this is why there's no top tier company at the moment that is bereft of a very strong database. And this is where the data analysts come in. And the interesting thing is that as a data analyst, you're not really boxed by any industry. You fit into a vast majority of industries, ranging from technology to healthcare to food to FMCG, whatever it is you want to say. Technology, a data analyst is very much welcome. I'll put it this to you. Wherever you have people, wherever you have issues, wherever you have data, you're going to need a data analyst. Pretty much. They're needed everywhere. They're needed to help make well-informed decisions. So it is through data that we can predict future, because through the patterns that data analysts help with, you can be able to say for a fact what will happen or what might not happen. So it helps with feasibility studies. It helps give also very succinct SWOT analysis, in the area of business. So yes, I'd say data analysis is a skill you should be looking at. Now, to be a data analyst, I personally would advise that you enroll with, do I say an edutech? Yes, an edutech that will drill you through the rigors, I would say, because you need to get familiar with specific tools, from SQL to Excel, specific things that will help you on that journey. And then the very interesting thing is that just before you think you do not have the financial means to afford it, I would say that there are several platforms with which or through which you can learn these particular skills at pretty much low cost that won't break your back or break the bank. I think Udemy, for example, is one of them. I missed a number of others. So data analysis is something that you should be looking into. It is one skill I recommend because, for example, in the United States of America, the average data analyst makes between $30,000 to $70,000 per annum. Does that sound like good money to you? Well, if it does, you should be trying your hands around data analysis and thank me later. I take offerings, okay? And then for some of you who do not have access to these particular countries, also understand that with the advent of the internet, you can work remotely. Yes, I have a number of friends who are making several millions in Naira or other currencies just by remote work, okay? So you can actually make tens of thousands of dollars from the comfort of your home by working remotely. Yes, data analysis helps you do that. Skill number 3. Motion graphics and video production. Now, there's a reason I had to put both together, and it's because I think that the relationship between them to a given extent kind of makes them slightly inseparable. I would explain exactly what I mean. Let's pick motion graphics, for example. Motion graphics is simple. It's simply graphics in motion. So motion graphics, just like it's being displayed on the screen right now, simply means moving designs, okay? It's like giving still designs some life and making them move to create a video, quote and unquote. Okay, it doesn't make it, it's not really anything super crazy. Okay, so usually designers have to have used Photoshop or Illustrator to have made basic designs, and then motion graphics is moving those designs to fit a particular purpose. So usually for motion graphics, it comes in either 2D designs, usually like a flat design, okay, or 3D. Now 3D is a little bit more enhanced, okay, it gives you more variations and viewpoints and everything. However, either which way, both are very beautiful. Now, motion graphics are usually done with apps like After Effects, okay. After Effects, I think, is even the numero uno on that particular template. Okay, so that's motion graphics for you. There's a reason I had to put motion graphics, because it has a very sharp relationship with video production. In a world where visual content is king and videos are getting much more popular and influential in terms of communication, video production cannot be overstated. So video production usually involves creating and editing videos for the purpose of education, entertainment, or business communications, for example. So now you need to see the relationship between motion graphics and video production. It usually is because most high-end videos in this day and age usually involve some elements of motion graphics. So for you to effectively tell a fascinating and captivating story, just the visuals of the people are usually not enough. To keep people glued to every screen, you always need to put elements of motion graphics here and there. So I would say that it is so much a high-end skill that you need to try to learn this coming year, because it is a skill on demand. It's a skill on demand. I'd even say boldly that in the motion graphics space, there's still a need for much more hands, because the world is pivoting in such a way that their skill cannot be denied. So the demand is there. The question is just that, is the supply really sufficient? Well, that's where you come in. So the sooner the better. Another thing I want to say about this is that it is also very financially rewarding, to be very candid. I know that motion graphic editors make thousands of dollars. In fact, some of them make thousands of dollars on singular projects. In fact, I know of someone who charges per second, not even per video. And sometimes on a 30-second video, depending although on the demands and the details of the video, you could be making about $5,000 or even more, you know, on just one deliverable. And also depending on the level of the clients you're working with. So it's a skill that I would advise you to venture into. And another thing about it is also that you can, there are specific self-help videos. Don't even go too far. YouTube is a school on its own. I'd say it is one of the biggest universities in the world. No, scratch that. YouTube is the biggest university in the world. So just the same way you're listening to me, I'd say that right after this video, you can rather look at self-help videos on motion graphics from the comfort of your home. All you simply need is a laptop, okay? You know, through which you can begin the journey. Number 4 is copywriting. Yeah. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of people think that writing is for an esoteric feel. You know, people who have a proverbial gift of the gab, you know, the ability to just be able to wake up and write specific things in the most poetic fashion. Well, you're kidding. There are many writers I know who were not born writers, but rather developed this particular skill as time went on. So copywriting is one of the major skills that you can gain moving into the new year that will actually help you make a lot of money. Copywriting involves writing persuasive and engaging texts, okay, that can influence people's behavior or decisions. In simple terms, copywriting is writing for marketing purposes. That just helps it. Writing for marketing purposes, that's what copywriting is. So for every single advert you see or every single brand communication that you see, okay, it's what we call a copy. It is something that is written with a customer in mind, hoping to influence them into making a particular decision that favors the company and in turn helps the company ensure profitability. Do you understand? One of the very good things about copywriting is the versatility of that particular craft. The fact that it is useful across pretty much every industry you could think of. As long as there are people, as long as there is marketing, you're going to need a copywriter. You're going to need a copywriter. Copywriters even are the people who are also behind the details of the writing for content creation. Anything that has to do with marketing, you need a copywriter. So I think it's a very beautiful thing. And another thing is, I'd say this, copywriting skills, just like every other skill actually, is something that can grow over time. So when you begin this journey, don't just stop at the beginning and say, oh, it's not for me. No. Just begin. Write, keep writing, never stop writing, and then you can become a whole lot better. At the initial stages, for example, it might not make sense to you, writing, but here's the trick that would always help you. It is write the way you talk, at least at the beginning. As it comes to mind, as you talk about it, write it that exact same way. So if it doesn't start by making sense, it will make sense at the end when you begin to straighten it out, okay? One other very beautiful thing about copywriting is that there are specific tools that can help you. Things like Hemingway, Grammarly, they can help your craft. And I must say this because this is the tipping point. AI can also make or mar this particular craft. Now, let me explain. There are a lot of AI tools like ChatGPT, for example, that have come, and people are here saying these particular tools are coming for the money of all copywriters. Whew. I think that's a very false statement. It is coming for the money of some copywriters, but not all copywriters, because smart copywriters are instead using AI as a tool for intelligence amplification, which is IA, quote and unquote. So I believe that these things have a perfect blend to one another. So for example, ChatGPT will help give you scenarios, help you straighten out your research, but ChatGPT will not, how do I put it, or might not be able to tailor it to the exact or direct context that you are in. It's very brilliant. It can help you do specific things. It can give you scenarios and all. But the touch that you give to what the AI tool does for you is what personalizes it and what tailors it down to your exact client's need. So stop talking like the crowd does. Okay, stop seeing AI as competing for your jobs. Instead, see AI as something that is helping you enhance your deliverables. For example, a friend of mine who is a marketing executive at a fintech was very recently talking to me about something that happened at his office. So very recently, he got called in by his boss, who told him he's been doing incredibly well since he came in. You know that ever since he came into the company, there were specific things they were trying to get done before that he just couldn't do. That the quality of the write-ups coming from him, the quality of the copies, the quality of the marketing exercises have been really top-notch. And then my friend looked me in the eye and told me something. He said, "Look, bro, AI has helped me." He said, through different tools, he's been able to, save time, streamline his thoughts, help research, and in turn improve his deliverables as it pertains to what the company demands from him. So I would say, while it might come for the jobs of some, it's not coming for the jobs of all, because smart people always find a way to thrive regardless of the hardship of the day. So yes, I would say see AI as your friend rather than enemy that wants your money. And having said that, copywriting is one of the well-paying skills that you can have around, particularly in the new year coming. Fun fact, I used to be a copywriter, but I wasn't making as much money as I'm telling you about now. The average copywriter can be making roughly $40,000 to $60,000 or even much more depending on your clientele. Many of them, because they freelance, get a lot of money and even build a team or community of other copywriters, which could also serve as extra funnel when it comes to making money. But for me, I used to be a copywriter. I used to tease that while I was doing my youth service several years ago, about 7 years back. I'm an old man now, right? I used to be a copywriter. I did some copywriting gigs here and there. In fact, I think the very first amount of money I was ever paid for writing was 5,000 naira. I was paid by a lady who was trying to, this wasn't even like direct copywriting, it was just basic writing. She was trying to get into a university for her master's, and then through what I wrote for her, I think she got about 80% or 90% scholarship. And I'm like, dude, for just 5,000 naira. And then it was really a very huge amount of money for me because I was doing my youth service. Anyways, to cut the long story short, copywriting, particularly in this day and age, is seen as a big deal. So yeah, pay attention. Number 5, content creation. Drum rolls, guys. Well, like the saying goes, content is king. Content creation is one of the most highly sought after skills, particularly in the marketing space. Everyone at every point in time is going to be influenced directly or indirectly by a content creator, because content is exactly what powers the social media economy. It is exactly what makes the digital world, float the way it is. It's what keeps it afloat. So you cannot deny that content creation is one of the, fastest rising skill sets that anyone can actually employ or have in their arsenal. Recent statistics have shown that more and more businesses are investing in content marketing, and this has increased the demand for content creators across several industries. So with the right approach on your part, content creation can actually be a high income skill for you, because the demand is there. And when the demand is there, it means the money is there, because money is being pumped in the direction of what is being demanded. So yes, content creation can actually be a very interesting way for you to make so much money. Now, I am a content creator, for example, so I would say that because it is my forte, I have quite a number of things to say. So first thing is that content creation is multifaceted. You see, many times when we hear content creation, people think about all of the people in front of the camera and they forget the folks behind the camera. Let me start by saying this. The content industry is a billion upon billion dollar industry at the moment. And this is interesting because some of the people making the biggest bucks from the content creation industry are not even the people in front of the camera. It's many of the guys behind the camera, the people giving direction, the people giving the scripting behind all of these things. So streaming platforms, for example, are rising day by day. Many of the media execs making money from these streaming platforms are not even the people in front of the camera, but those behind, the people, behind the scenes making every single thing tick. So there are different ways you can leverage on this current craze for content creation. Since the advent of social media through YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the likes, more and more celebrities and popular faces have been rising because media has now been decentralized, which means that from place to place, person to person, the opportunity to express themselves have come up. So social media has become a platform for expression for several people today. So right now, people can make money just by creating specific content tailor-made for a particular audience. So here's what I'll just say on how to make money through content creation. I'll put it this way. First and foremost, you need to understand the medium or the platform with which you want to thrive. So for example, different rules work for YouTube and those rules might not work for Instagram. Those rules might not also work for TikTok. For example, TikTok seems to be like a different world of its own. There seems to be a group of Gen Zs making the wave right now on TikTok. That's their channel. They have the econometrics. They know exactly how it works. They go live videos a lot. They do specific things to score some coin points and all of things like that. Well, but those things do not work for YouTube, for example. YouTube entails a different process entirely, making videos, reaching monetization metrics and things like that. So you need to know exactly what works. Okay, for Instagram, for example, the payments do not come directly from the app in and of itself, even though there's a new platform for subscription, right? The major payments come with brand partnerships. So through Instagram, you maybe grow your page, grow the platform, grow your popularity, and then brands want to partner with you to showcase their wares, and that's beautiful. It also works. So for example, for someone like me, I'm much more inclined towards the kind of Instagram partnerships like that. Okay, exactly. So in another sense, also for Twitter is a micro-blogging platform, for example. So what works for YouTube and other platforms do not work for Twitter. So for Twitter, your capacity or your ability to create very controversial statements that will trend and transcend global corridors, for example, is what really makes people think. So very recently, Elon Musk, the CEO of X, has come up with a payment platform, right? Or a payment structure where there's now ad revenue sharing, okay? Which is really brilliant. So it's also a way to make money. So imagine, for example, you started out with the hope of making money the YouTube type of way, right? Most of your content won't fly on Twitter, for example, okay? And then the way you make content that make money on YouTube will not necessarily work on Instagram, because for Instagram, the attention span is shorter. So with Reels, because we're now in a reel-powered economy when it comes to Instagram, the virality of your video is also dependent on the length of time. Okay, while for YouTube, it's impossible for you to make money or so much money by putting those short videos directly on YouTube. So YouTube then responded by creating what they call shorts. Okay, so that way, what works for Instagram can also work for shorts, because the virality works the same way. So you need to understand that. See, if you really want to be a content creator, you need to stop seeing it as a hobby. You need to start seeing it as a business. Right? So this changes everything. So you have to sit down and understand the metrics, what flies. Another thing that I think also works is that you might need to have a niche. Okay, you want to be a go-to for something. You want people to be looking for a particular thing and then look at you. For example, a lot of cooking videos are flying left, right, and center across the globe. The part of Africa that I come from, Nigeria, for example, there are a lot of chefs and people who just make cooking videos from the comfort of their homes. And it seems to be getting a lot of views. So they talk about recipes and how to cook these particular recipes to desired effect. So these things are undeniable. You can make the most of them. So try to have a niche. So when I want to make a particular kind of food, maybe spaghetti bolognese, I do not know how to go about that, go look for the chef who always makes those kind of videos. You know, for example, someone like Ali Abdal is, we should check out, by the way. I love him so much. He is, I think, the world's most searched after or sought after productivity expert. You know, people like Ali Abdal. So I want to improve my productivity. Oh, I go look for Ali. I want to do this, I look for this particular person. I want to do so, I look for so person. So things like that. So you want to have like you want to be an expert or a go-to or a pro in your niche, and that way you are able to, you know, build a cult following in that particular regard. So yes, that's really how, or that's one of the ways content creation will actually help you make so much money. But one advice I'll give you is simple: patience. Ask any YouTuber. No one ever woke up one day and started making money off YouTube. Ask Mr. Beast. It's been 8 years, for example, of doing YouTube hardcore, and I do not think he exploded, you know, until I think the 50th year thereabouts, or maybe it's 40th year. Okay, so it's funny for people to then think that he came out of nowhere. No one ever comes out of nowhere. Success is an iceberg, like I always say. Everyone sees what's on top, but no one sees what's beneath. No one sees the years of toiling, the years of hard work, the hardships, and every other thing. All they see is the success. So you have to be patient, because on the journey of content creation that you're starting, you need to understand you're not the only one. There are millions of other people who are doing the same thing that you're trying to start. So what will differentiate you from the rest of them, or what will make you money, okay, as against those who do not make money, is also your patience, your grit. And also another thing I can also advise you to do is the power of collaboration. At the early stages, try and collaborate with other content creators, so that way you both appeal to your audiences, you know, concurrently, okay, or simultaneously, you know, and then you can make as much wave as possible. So because of time and the length of this particular video, I have a number of other things to say about content creation, maybe sharing my journey, how I, you know, started making money from content creation. But that won't be for this video. I'm gonna have to create another video for that, okay? But right now I'll just say another very vital thing is also positioning yourself for brands, okay? That's another training altogether by itself. But most importantly, start, okay? Start, and I think that will work out well. All right, thank you so much for listening. I hope that I've been able to, you know, through these 5 skills, give you a potential route, you know, towards money making in the year 2024. And I really do hope that you employ these things. Let me start by saying this. Look, guys, procrastination is extremely deceptive, because if you think that it will take a year or 2 or specific months to do a particular skill, so you will not just do it because it's going to take time. You need to understand that one day you will get to that particular point in the future and wish you did it. So a good example, if I'm 27 and I want to get a PhD, and I want to get a PhD by 35, and I say, oh my God, I'm just giving an example, maybe 8 years to get a PhD is too much. Well, one day I'll be 35 and will wish I started back then. So the next best time to start is when? Now. Okay, so I deliberately gave this video 2 months before the year runs out, or rather 3 months before the year runs out, just to give you some, you know, positioning and help you make a head start ahead of the new year. Okay, so how many of you are going to be counting some extra checks and getting so much more alerts in the year 2024 apart from me? Raise your hand. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm most grateful. There's one thing I would like you to kindly do for me. Please like this video to ensure that it reaches more people, and also ensure you share it with your loved ones. But just before you do that, if you still haven't subscribed, oh my God, you are committing a very grave sin. So please do so. And thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Love you. And just the way we like to wrap up every single video. Drum rolls, drum rolls, drum rolls, guys. Wait for it. Ireo! See you in the next video.